Right now, Bangladesh is divided into two parts. One is the government and other is the people. People do not have any sort of stakeholder in the government right now. And they are opposing the government for their own survival, for their own security.
Is Yunus anyway successful in making the pro-Islamic state that he wants to do there?
The friends of Yunus, the nexus, evil nexus of Yunus is totally, it is based on fundamental groups. This government lifted ban of Jamaat-e-Islami and other terrorist organizations, and they give ban to the largest democratic political party of Bangladesh. And during July-August, more than 90% the police station has been looted. He played religious card, he played anti-Indian card.
So what is the condition of the minorities in Bangladesh?
Religious freedom in Bangladesh is totally curtailed right now. They are dictating what should be your religion, what should be your duty, what you can wear, how will have your festival operations. For being a Hindu, they are removing from your job. They are making such position that you have to compel to resign from that position. You can say Bangladesh is a lawless state right now. You can do whatever you want.
Are those people from Jamaat-e-Islami or they are really students? Hello, Namaste, you're watching OpIndia, and right now in our studio we have a very special guest who is the president of Bangladesh Chhatra League. So I would like to welcome Saddam Hussain with us on the studio. So hi Saddam, welcome to the studio of OpIndia.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so my very first question is that what were the signs that compelled you to run from Bangladesh? What were the challenges that you faced?
Right now, Bangladesh is totally a safe haven for terrorism. There is no chance of having your own voice, any sort of voice which ultimately challenges the government, any opposing voice, any dissenting voice. There is no human rights, political rights, civil rights. So, that there are state-sponsored terrorism is actually happening all over the country for your political beliefs, for your religious identity. The only freedom right now in Bangladesh is supporting the government. And the only option for the people of Bangladesh, supporting the government actually. And the government itself becoming a fascist regime. They do not tolerate any sort of dissenting voices, any sort of protest. And as the government itself is unelected, undemocratic, illegal, illegitimate, and they banned our organization, Bangladesh Students League, the largest political party of Bangladesh, Awami League. And becoming a victim in this lawless state is the only option remaining for the people of Bangladesh. So not only me, all the people of Bangladesh, they have to hide in the places, they have to go from one places to another places just to secure their life. So this is the reality in Bangladesh right now.
So you crossed the Sylhet border?
No, I come in a legal process.
I want to ask that before this situation was going to happen, the military coup and everything, were you aware about this, that this is going to happen and you have to take these steps, that you have to come here to India?
You know that if you was the scenario closely of the events of July-August 24, there was the student movement, there are some popular demands, and on that cases government responded lawfully, and government itself said that they will fulfill the demands of the students. And as a students organization, Bangladesh Students League, we are also trying to focus on the students' demands. We organize many sort of programs, protests, assemblies, rallies. We also played in the legal part so that the students' demands ultimately came to fulfill. But the main orchestrator, the main perpetrator who played the backdoor politics in the situation, the goal of there is that the making in one sense you can say taking the revenge of 1971 war victory of Bangladesh, and also making Bangladesh a religious state, making Bangladesh a fundamentalist state, making a Bangladesh the totally extremist state. And they already proclaimed that their one of the goal of there is making Bangladesh a khilafat. So this is their proclaimed goal. This is their main agenda. And the people of Bangladesh, they are not ready for it actually, because there may be movement, there may be democratic transition, there may be electoral change in any country, but people never expected that the ruler of the country will be unelected. The ruler of the country will be will not be the representative of the people of the Bangladesh. So I think right now Bangladesh is divided in two parts. One is the government and other is the people. People do not have any sort of stakeholder in the government right now, and they are opposing the government for their own survival, for their own security, for having their rights to be declared, for making their dreams safe. And Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh is, that mentally, politically, they are against the government, and they are trying to, that democratic movement, a successful movement.
So, is Yunus anyway successful in making the pro-Islamic state that he wants to do there? What are your views about that?
The toppling of the Awami League government, it is actually done by the fundamental groups, extremist groups. And there are evil nexus between Professor Yunus, Jamaat-e-Islam, Ansarullah Bangla team, Hizbut Tahrir, other political groups. Few days ago, Lashkar-e-Taiba, one of the leader of Lashkar-e-Taiba from Pakistan, they declared victory in the cases of July-August events in Bangladesh. So the friends of Yunus, the nexus, evil nexus of Yunus is totally, it is based on fundamental groups. So prioritizing their fundamental agenda is also the agenda of the current illegal interim governments. And if you see the events after 5 August, what can we see from a neutral point of view? That the party who played a role against our liberation movement, who was, convicted of war crimes during the liberation war, who has close connections with the Pakistan-based terrorist organization Jamaat-e-Islam, this government lifted ban of Jamaat-e-Islam and other terrorist organizations, and they give ban to the largest democratic political party of Bangladesh. And not only that, if you see the situation of the courts in Bangladesh, that who were previously convicted of attacks, whether played a role in Holy Artisan international terror attack, whether it is attacks on the minorities or in our cultural activities, those who are responsible and those who are proved and there are verdicts against them, they got exempted, they got bail, and they are out of jail right now. In the context of July-August, even where there is civil war or other sort of disturbance in their internal disturbance in any country, this not happen in any other country except in Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh during July-August most than 90% the police station has been looted, their arms has been taken, hundreds of police officers has been killed for just for being loyal to do their duty. And after 5 August, if you see the political landscape in Bangladesh, Yunus is surrounded by the extremist groups, just by the fundamental groups, and the so-called political leaders who involved with the terrorist organizations, international terrorist organizations, they are moving freely in Bangladesh. They are having their meetings, they are having their dialogues, there may be inner sort of training program between them. So it is right now Bangladesh, that there is a revolution of fundamentalism, there is a revolution of extremism actually, which is against the will of the people of the Bangladesh. And if you watch the situation from a regional perspective also, if the country Bangladesh became a fundamentalist state, it is actually a threat to the regional stability, peace and harmony also, because there are connections, close ties, cooperation and mutual understanding and mutual goal with other terrorist organizations of this region, mostly Pakistan-backed ISI-backed terrorist organizations. So they will ultimately, that they will threaten our sovereignty, they will somehow cause harm to the regional peace and stable position in the South Asians. Actually, Dr. Yunus, he becomes the guardian of the fundamental groups. He became actually the savior of the extremist groups, and he played religious card, he played anti-Indian card. He is, that encouraging, and he is giving state-sponsored blessing to the minority attacks. And if you know that the secularism is one of the bases of Bangladeshi constitution, and which ultimately, this secular fabric has been demolished by the government. They proposed a fundamental provision in the constitution. So ultimately, this will threaten the Hindu people, Buddhist people, indigenous people of Bangladesh. So they are targeting actually for being a Hindu, for being a Christian, for being a Buddhist, for being a member of the that minority community. You have no option other than becoming a victim of the state-sponsored terrorism.
So what is the condition of the minorities in Bangladesh?
if you see the report of Associated Press, AP, according to their reports, more than 2,200 incidents happened, reported events. There are also unreported documents in Bangladesh of minority attacks. That their house has been burned, their properties has been looted, they got threatened, they got killed, and many other things. That religious freedom in Bangladesh is totally curtailed right now. They are dictating what should be your religion, what should be your duty, what you can wear, how will have your festival operations. They are dictating everything. And if you not only that, just for being a Hindu, just for being a member of the the minority community, just for being an indigenous member, they are removing from your job. They are making such position that you have to, you are compelled to resign from that position just for becoming a Hindu. That they cancelled their job, although they passed every examinations and they are got elected for that post. So this is the actual scenario right now in Bangladesh. And also, that in every cases, whenever Dr. Yunus was asked, he himself declared as a champion of human rights, and he is also, that he is not capable of giving security to the minority people, to the other religions people. And not only that, that he himself encouraged the situation. In any cases of what I mentioned, in any cases, government did not take any sort of steps, that to take the criminals to the prisons, or any sort of cases or any sort of investigations. Nothing has been done. And whenever he was asked by the foreign journalist, because in Bangladesh, no journalists have the right to ask any question to the current government. Whenever he was asked whether his government is responsible, he never answered, and he said that this is political reasons, this is political events. This is by saying this, he is actually encouraging this event. He is saying that if you do this, government will do something, government won't do anything, just government will skip the matter. Whoever involved in the terrorist activists, whoever involved in the minority attacks, he is surrounded by them, and he is giving the the safety of those people.
So this dual image of Yunus that is kept in front of the world, right now he's already having that clash between BNP and himself. What is the matter that BNP is now against Yunus?
They are just trying to consolidate their power. They don't think power resides in people. They believe that they are having meeting in the different sort of meeting, inner meeting, outer meeting, and just for I think just for compromising power. They are just focusing on that assuring the electoral dominance in the coming election, whether people got their rights, whether people get the right to vote it or not. The simple goal of the BNP and other political parties just go to on the power, not based on the electoral victory, just based on the compromise, just based on the backdoor diplomacy, just based on getting the advantages of the political vacuum actually.
So who are the other faces from oppositions who are there as the leader faces who can win in the other elections or something, if you have any idea about that?
That the current government is not capable of having a free, fair and inclusive election, and it is also not their goal. Election is just a tool for for increasing their power, for increasing their duration. This is the sole agenda of the current government, and they are doing that. If you are banning Bangladesh Awami League, that means you are not banning just a political party, you are erasing history, and not only that, you are actually disenfranchising millions of people of Bangladesh. You are banning Awami League, that means more than 40%, 50% people are not going to the poll to have their votes. They will the stakeholders of the country are outlawed actually by banning Bangladesh Awami League. And if you see the neutrality of the government, this is the only government in the country who doesn't know about its duration. This is the only government current now. That the government itself form a political party. Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh ridiculed it as a King's Party, NCP. The government is prioritizes NCP's, that they are trying to enlarging their political landscape. They are directing the bureaucracy to help them. They are trying to use the police for their as an oppressive tool for their own political agenda. So this government, the sole aim of the government is consolidating power and this government do not have any sort of neutrality, and also there is no law and order situation. To have an election, you must have safety to the people. You must have, when a journalist asks a question against the government, his job has been sacked. So how the people of Bangladesh will have their own choice, will have their own vote if this sort of threatening situation is happening right now in Bangladesh. So I think, and if you see the greater perspective of the law and order situation, you can say Bangladesh is a lawless state right now. You can do whatever you want, and the independence of judiciary is also necessary for having a free fair election. And this time the judiciary has not any sort of independence. Actually, the judiciary became an extension of the executive forces. Actually, what orders given by the executive borders, the court officers just read out them and give their verdict. And in that so-called independent judiciary, they got exempted, they got bailed. Whoever involved in the 20 August grenade attack, whoever involved in the the train track arsenal cases. So this is the things in Bangladesh, and I think the people of Bangladesh have no other option other than the removal of this government.
So is Yunus Trump's puppet, or is he planted by them? Because as we have seen that there are many ammunitions which are brought from US maybe. So what are your views on this? That is he working on the instructions of Trump?
I think he's a puppet of the fundamental groups. It is said in some reports actually that that there are some roles of other that some external factors are remaining with these issues. But the securing his own personal agenda and securing the goal of the fundamental groups, and he's not a politician or a leader, or being elected is his priority. And the people's agenda is not his priority. He is actually he is actually doing his own private business. And by if you see the situation in Bangladesh in the last 10th months only, he exempted himself from the tax evasion cases. From 6,000 more than 600 crore has been exempted totally. The Grameen banks got tax evasion for more than 5 years already, and the government share of Grameen Bank, it is 30% previously, and right now it is 10%. He gave himself license of universities for digital banking services. These are given himself. He is uttering about liberal values, democratic values. He is he is giving spaces regarding conflict of interest, and he is actually doing it in Bangladesh right now. And whenever he is representing Bangladesh and going to the foreign countries, he is actually not representing the country. He is representing his own personal business. So the people of Bangladesh actually ridiculed him, saying that he is not actually the chief interim of the chief advisor of the interim government. He is actually the chief executive officer of his private business. So this is this is the goal of Yunus actually.
So Saddam, till where we know that the Jamaat-e-Islami was much more involved in this entire situation. So give us a clear image of that how it generated in Bangladesh and how it made the situation in Bangladesh like this.
That Jamaat-e-Islam, who is as per their constitution, they do not believe in democratic political landscape. They do not believe in competitive democracy. They do not believe in electoral democracy. They do not believe in man-made law as per their constitution. So it is a religious political party based on fundamental values, and even not only their political aspect about the minorities or other indigenous, even who believes in liberal Islam, who believe in Sufism, who believes in liberal values inside Islam, who believes in peace inside Islam, they are also becoming victim of this Jamaat-e-Islam rule. Actually, this is Jamaat-backed rule in Bangladesh. That minorities got attacked. This is true. Also, the Sufi shrines in Bangladesh, thousands of Sufi shrines has been attacked by this so-called government, and that's why. And Jamaat-e-Islam for the first time in Bangladesh, that. During the liberation war, This is the political party who are convicted of war crimes, who are convicted of crimes against humanity. They were actually auxiliary forces of Pakistan army at the time. In the 1971, in all 9 months, that more than 3 million people have been killed in Bangladesh, and they played that role. More than 2 lakhs women had been raped at the time liberation war, and they played their part on that time. And right now, the Jamaat-e-Islam, they have a huge Islamic militant groups. They have a cooperation with the other terrorist organizations. They have the trained cadres to show their muscle power in the streets. And by killing people, by threatening people, by moral policing, by state-sponsored mob justice, these are the things actually by Jamaat-e-Islam. And Yunus, he himself tried to sell himself as a liberal voice of the world, but he's totally backed by Jamaat-e-Islam. You can say also he's the puppet of Jamaat-e-Islam, or the guardian of the Jamaat-e-Islam in one sense. And that this is also a threat of our stability, our democracy, our sovereignty also. If Jamaat-e-Islam, that if this government remains in power, Jamaat will be more powerful day by day. They will, that they will persecute people, they will have oppressive rules, they will try for their Sharia law, and maybe they will try to have a country of just a Muslim identity. This is their sole goal. And the international terrorist organizational network in South Asia will be widened. It will be supported by the Bangladesh, current Bangladesh government, and it ultimately resulted in a unstable situation in Bangladesh, and democracy will never be established in Bangladesh. Stability also will never be established in Bangladesh when Jamaat-e-Islam, got this sort of backing from the current government.
So my question is that, were those people really students? Because as we saw that after Sheikh Hasina left Bangladesh, so there was in the news that are those people from Jamaat-e-Islami, or they are really students?
It is already proved. They unmasked themselves, and it is crystal clear to the people of Bangladesh and also to the international community, international media, that being a student or labeling themselves as a student was just a strategy of there. And there are lots of incidents where that the trained cadets of the Jamaat-e-Islami, Hizb ut-Tahrir, Ansarullah Bangla team, they played a vital role in the violent movement. And they said themselves, they looted the police stations, they took guns, they killed the police, and they himself declared themselves as victorious just because of killing the people. So it is a huge network. It is a pre-planned, as it is also said by the interim government chief. It is a previous designed matter, and all the the terrorist organizations, militant organizations backed by Jamaat-e-Islam, and other also terrorist organizations of other regions, mostly backed by ISI. So they trained some people, they make the connections, and they played their game, and they that they tried to have success of their conspiracy. And that when in one time of the movement, when there are students, and they said it after 5 August, that there was some covert missions on the cases when there are students protesting for their solution only. At that time, many students who are not students of that educational institutions, they just dressed as students and go to the streets, and they did their job, like that the killing, that the other matters, killing and giving the blame to the government. So it is not by the statement of ours, it is by their statement, it is proved that they have their role in the movement.
So because it's in the recent news that Supreme Court has unbanned the Jamaat-e-Islami also, and there's a possibility that it will stand for the coming elections. So what are your views on that?
That Jamaat-e-Islami registration has been shut down by a decision of the Appellate Division in 2013. So it is a legal matter actually, and the legal matter was this: whether Jamaat-e-Islam's principles is against the Constitution of Bangladesh. This was the main things of the debate. And Jamaat-e-Islam's constitution, that according to their constitution, they are not responsible for the democratic principles, liberal values, constitutional democracy, people's representative, and every sort of proclaimed mandate by the Jamaat-e-Islam is against the law of the land. So by toppling the government using the fundamental groups, this is a verdict given actually by the Jamaat itself, given by the government itself. In a legal sense, this can be the verdict actually in any sense. So actually Jamaat-e-Islami, that they are getting every sort of support. They are playing the main role in the government, and the nexus between Yunus and Jamaat-e-Islam is ultimately shaping the history of Bangladesh right now, and they're taking the revenge. Actually, they're erasing our history. They bulldozed the house of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, our father of the nation. They vandalized that the Independence Museum, War Museum, and they are trying to say they are trying to defaming our liberation war history, which the people of Bangladesh sacrificed their lives. India played a role for our independence. So Jamaat-e-Islam, there is becoming a threat to the core principles of Bangladesh. Jamaat-e-Islam is actually lifting the ban from Jamaat-e-Islam is actually that making the political landscape of Bangladesh in a conservative one, and ultimately it resulted in the instability in Bangladesh also.
So as we know that Yunus's family never supported liberation of Bangladesh, and Yunus clearly does not want a secular democracy and wants to convert Bangladesh an Islamic state, clearly, with the radical Islamists. For example, he freed hundreds of terrorists from Ansar al-Islam and Jamaat-e-Islami. He even freed Lutfur Zaman Babar, who funded Ulfa in Assam and provided them ammunition. What are the implications for India here?
It is the power. The current government is the security threat to Bangladesh also, and also I think for the greater regional stability, because that who are involved in terrorist activities, who are involved with the you mentioned the cases of Ulfa and other organizations that was backed by the government or the then government, and they were that legally convicted by the neutral court of Bangladesh, and without due process, without ensuring law, just for just for pleasing the Islamic militant groups, just for pleasing the groups who are who are trying to organize security threat also India. They are trying to pleasing them, and that's why they erased the case. They exempted them. They got them bail, and they quashed all sort of cases right now. And this is actually happening in Bangladesh, whether it is in legal matters, in economic matters, in political matters. Everything is shaping right now in Bangladesh as per the wishes of this fundamental extremist groups. So this is the actual scenario of Bangladesh, and if you see the scenario of Bangladesh, they are interim government, they are unelected government. If you cross-check the situation of sovereignty, they are giving corridors, they are taking decisions regarding port, which ultimately threaten the sovereignty of Bangladesh also. And they do not talk with the military of Bangladesh. They do not talk with the stakeholders, other political parties. So they are threatening our sovereignty also. And by patronizing those groups who played terrorist activities inside India also previously, and the Pakistan ISI-backed terrorist organizations who are involved in many sort of attacks, whether it is Mumbai attacks, whether it is parliament attacks in India, backed by ISI and other Pakistan-based organizations. They are they are also the government is harboring them actually. The government is trying to promote them. So it is actually a threat to Bangladesh, India, and also in a greater South Asian perspective. If you see, it is a threat to democratic South Asia. It is a it is a threat to united South Asia. And as a leader of the democratic world, India is the largest the democratic country in the world, and they are becoming a economic superpower day by day. I think, and also by the mutual understanding, greater relationship between India and Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh also get benefited, whether it is trade matters, whether it is other matters related with the people's day-to-day lives, whether it is energy cooperation. So actually, by doing this, by playing anti-India card, by playing their religious card, they are actually also that they are also threatening the people of Bangladesh. They are also risking that Bangladesh will have some sort of economic isolation. So this is the actual scenario in Bangladesh.
With this, Saddam, I have a very personal question in that sense, because you're saying that people are getting threatened. So your family members and other people are also there in Bangladesh only, must be. So what is the condition of them? Are they getting threats, or are they facing such problems there?
Everyone in Bangladesh, right? Every citizen in Bangladesh is under threat.
But on your name, because of your connections, or maybe in that way, are they getting threats?
All the time. You know that if you just see, that the so-called Nobel laureate who championed human rights all over the world, giving speeches, inspired other people around the world. And in his country, this is a country where more than 5 lakh students cannot go to the educational institution, cannot participate in the exams, just for just for having a political belief, just for being a supporter of a student organization, just for compassionate to the liberation war. Not only that, their certificate has been cancelled, their job has been annulled. This is the scenario, and no activist of Bangladesh students, they cannot remain in their home, because every homes who are supporters, who are activists of Bangladesh Student League, Bangladesh Awami League, their house has been burned, their properties has been looted. There are state-sponsored terrorism. There are mob attacks encouraged by the government, and also according to a report by the Human Rights Watch, in the last 10 months only, more than 3 lakh and 50,000 people got arrested in the situation. In the last month only, in every day, Bangladesh, Bangladesh got arrested more than 1,500 people in Bangladesh. So this is the actual scenario in Bangladesh. Being a victim of their oppression is the only option remain right now in Bangladesh. So every workers, every citizens who have a dissenting voice, who just want to protect their dignity, their human rights, they got threatened, they got killed, they got risked of their lives. So this is the ongoing scenario of Bangladesh.
So when this situation was going to really come in front of you all, like you told that 5th August was the date, but you must be knowing this beforehand, if you were getting this news that this is going to happen, you must be knowing that something is going to happen in your such a ground level. So when was it that you were getting this intuition or something that where is the government failing, or where is the military starting this against the government?
That not only us, that no one was ready for this situation, because Awami League government, the direction of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, they tried to avoid every sort of disturbance in the country. The government, passed curfew, and they directed to the activists to remain in the home, to obey the law, and in a rightful manner. This was the direction of Awami League. This was the this was the vision of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, because that securing the life of the people was her main priority. Prime concern of Sheikh Hasina, Awami League, is securing the life of the people of Bangladesh. And she always directed to the Awami League people, to the Bangladesh Students League people, to avoid all sort of disturbances, to so that nothing can happen which ultimately risk the people's lives. And on 5th August also, that there was curfew, and Awami League, Bangladesh Awami League, the largest political party, the most strong political party in Bangladesh's perspective, they they postponed their political programs so that there shouldn't be any sort of coalition. there shouldn't be any risk to their lives, because other political opponent groups, other fundamental groups, they are in the killing mission. They are doing their own politics by risking the lives of the people and taking advantage of the situation. So Awami League was concerned, Sheikh Hasina was concerned just for securing the life of the people of Bangladesh. So the direction given by her was, that obey the law as per given by the government. So it was actually, that the Awami League, is actually they fulfill the demand of the students on one hand, and other hand, that Sheikh Hasina, she prioritizes the people than power actually.
So, Saddam, let's come back to Trump and US thing. So, he has handed over Rakhine Corridor and St. Martin Island to US, and Bangladesh citizens are banned to enter these places, St. Martin basically, and US troops have been seen on ground there. So, what do you expect from Donald Trump?
If you see the context in Bangladesh right now, they are risking actually our sovereignty, and it is said by the Bangladesh military, which is the symbol of our national sovereignty. Also, the Yunus government, without talking with the military, without talking with the concerned authorities, without talking to the political parties, and without having mandate of doing such sort of things, they are ultimately giving corridors, which ultimately destabilize our situation, which ultimately invites external interference in our country. And by doing this, he is that he is securing his power by making happy to his foreign bosses, and by doing this, he is actually ignoring the interest of the people of Bangladesh. And he declared one person the national security advisor, who is actually not the citizen of Bangladesh. And also, not only the corridor issues regarding the port issues, which is very strategically important for Bangladesh, and all. They are also taking such sort of decisions which are ultimately decreasing the national interests of the people of Bangladesh. So I think that he is actually prioritizing his own personal agenda for for tightening his hold, for securing his power, for securing his business imperial, and he is risking sovereignty. He is giving the country's own interest to the other external matters.
So, are there any signs that a change can be brought in the state in a better way? Because as we know that so much of involvement of terrorist groups and everything. So, how is it possible that in upcoming times we can see that Bangladesh can really change?
The people of Bangladesh is in a movement right now, and the people of Bangladesh have no other option other than removal of this government for the restoring democracy, for securing the human rights, for having stability, for for having economic growth, and for their own security. People have no other choice other than removal of the government, and that's why all walks of life and all over Bangladesh, they are time to time, day by day, they are enlarging their movement. They are increasing their movement. Recently, that the primary school teachers, they shut down their schools. In the secretariat, that the government takes such sort of initiatives which ultimately used the bureaucracy for their own oppressive regime, and bureaucracy protested that, obviously. And also the industry has been collapsed totally. People are jobless actually, and the day laborer, they are protesting. Workers are protesting. That the followers of the Majars, they are protesting. Women all over Bangladesh are protesting because Bangladesh previously, Awami League government led by Sheikh Hasina is championing women empowerment, and she achieving Planet 50/50 is one of the success story of the Awami League government. And regarding the MDG and SDG goals regarding women empowerment, Awami League government is the champion actually. And Bangladesh previously was the the champion of the SAP women's football. And right now in Bangladesh, the women cannot play football. There are threats, there are moral policing, there are mob attacks, and they said that you cannot wear this, you cannot play this. So women are also against this government. So people from all walks of life are against the government. They are protesting. They are distancing themselves from the government. They do not believe that this government represents themselves. And also, who are the actual owner of the country? People are the actual of the country. So when there is an unelected government, when there is an constitutional government, that means you are degrading people. That means you are degrading people's choice. That means you are not representing people and owning the country for your own interest. So I think for a democratic, liberal Bangladesh, the removal of the government is the only option available for the people of Bangladesh.
So when people are not satisfied with Yunus's government, so why was it that he was made to sit as the interim prime minister?
That people are not satisfied. People never welcome this government actually, and they cannot solve any problem actually, because they themselves are the problem in the country, and they are taking the power by using tools, by using oppressive manners, by using the non-state fundamental groups and other trained extremist groups. They are being in power by using these, by threatening people, by silencing the voice of the people. They are actually in power. They who are in power right now. They think that they will be successful in the coming days also, but I don't think so. People of Bangladesh also do not believe that also. The more they oppress the people of Bangladesh, the more strengthened becoming the people of Bangladesh. The protest becoming more stronger in that case. They are trying to demolish the movement, but the movement is getting back stronger actually in Bangladesh, and people are rising back. People are reclaiming their glory. People are for securing their own rights. They are fighting for the greater democratic cause.
So as we know that India is a safe place for Sheikh Hasina and for you all also. So what are the expectations from India? How can India help Bangladesh in a way?
That India is the largest democratic country in the world, and also regarding the it is becoming the economic superpower, and in the coming days it will have a greater role in shaping the world actually. In our independence movement, India played vital role. Not only playing role, they also sacrificed their lives also for our independence. So India has a history of fighting for freedom, justice, independence, and ensuring the rights of the people all over the world. And the people of Bangladesh got benefited from these situations from the earliest of history, and right now also the role of India is a blessing for the democracy of Bangladesh actually, because what is the role of Indian government if you see from a neutral point of view? They are saying about gross human rights violations. They are saying about minority attacks. They are saying about elected government. They are saying about democracy. They are saying about constitutionality. So it is it is the greater interest of the Bangladeshis people also, and we do believe, and that the during the liberation war, there was a military in Bangladesh who oppressed the people, who committed the war crimes. There was a so-called government in the liberation war. In that time also, India supported the people of Bangladesh. India never supported an unelected regime in that time also, and people ultimately have their victory. And I do believe this time also, India is on the right side of the history, and they will play a role, and they are already playing their role, and they are that for taking the matters, they are taking the issues which are indispensable to the lives of Bangladesh. They are taking the issues. They are urging the international communities also, and they are urging in a democratic way, I think.
So, do you see Bangladesh liberating in fewer near times in any way?
I do believe, because the liberty of the people will be achieved when the stakeholder of the people will be secured. So in that sense, the current regime is a fascist regime. The current regime is, that they came to power in an undemocratic way, and there is a consensus among the people of Bangladesh. There is a consensus among international community regarding this illegitimate government. So I think liberty will be achieved. I think democracy will be restored. I think people's voice will be heard, and this fascist, undemocratic, unconstitutional regime will come to an end.
How can PM Modi help Sheikh Hasina or the government to actually function in future?
As the Prime Minister of the largest democracy in the world, Prime Minister Modi played a vital role in the situations, and not for the securing the stability of the region, for having harmonious situation in the region, for for honoring the democratic values of the people. And in the contrasting situations, in the turbulent situations, the role by Prime Minister Modi is that very much cool, very much realistic and farsighted, and it is I think it is a problem solving approach of the current India government is a blessings for the entire region, I think.
Okay, so it was great talking to you and knowing everything that has happened in Bangladesh, and we hope that we have you next time also in the studio. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for telling us about the entire situation that is there in Bangladesh. And thank you so much.
Thank you.